This is Lucas Ross Sports. Lucas Ross, your commentator. We continue our 2022 college football predictions. The Penn State Nitty Lions are up next. I'll give you my thoughts on this team, give you my official prediction for this team, and go preview their schedule, and I will go from there. But before we do that, let's look back at 2021 for this Penn State team. Looking back at 2021 for Penn State, they went 7-6 overall. Not a really good season last year, I think, for Penn State. I mean, I expected this team to be a lot better, but I think, there's a possibility they could wind up with the same record again this year, but we got to go through the schedule and see what it will look like. Offensively and defensively in the rankings last year, 90th on offense. I mean, that's not a positive number there. This offense was, a little bit struggling last year, but I think they'll be better this year. Maybe they can score some points, maybe in the 30s this year, maybe also in the 40s, but we never know. Defensively, they were 7th in the defense last year. This defense was really good. I mean, I expected this defense to be good again, but I think the defense, they lose quite a lot of talent on that side of the ball. Let's be honest, they lose quite a lot of talent on that side of the ball this year. Points per game and opponents per game, 25 points on the offensive side of the ball and 17.3 points given up on the defense. That defense really clicked in last year for Penn State. My thoughts on this team, though, is I think they're going to have an up and down season. There's going to be ups and then some downs on the way. So I think this team, I think their schedule is pretty tough this year for Penn State. I'm looking at it right now, and I think it's going to be tougher. So let's get to the schedule now and give you an official prediction for this team. Penn State, here's their schedule. And they face Purdue here to begin the season on the road. That is not going to be an easy game there. It's a game that you had to start to play out of the Big Ten Conference. And Purdue is going to be a really good team this year. They're going to be a really good team this year, a really good offense this year. Last year Purdue really surprised a lot of people, and I'm expecting them to do that again this year. Penn State, though, with it being on the road, I could see this one being a 50-50 game. But I think, I think Purdue, the home field advantage is there for them. And I think Penn State does lose on the road at Purdue. I think I like Purdue's chances in this game as well. And with it being a 50-50 game, I just got to go with the home field advantage. And I'm going to go with Purdue here to get the win. So I'm going to say Penn State does lose their first game of the season, and they will start out 1-1. They take care of business, though, against Ohio on September 10th. They get a win there. And then they face Auburn on the road. So this is really not an easy non-conference schedule for Penn State. Ohio is not that tough, and Central Michigan's not that tough. For Purdue, or actually Auburn, out of the non-conference is really tough. You have to play them out of the SEC. Last year, Penn State ended up winning this game. This year, it's on the road. I could see it being a close game, but it really comes down to that quarterback position there for Auburn. For Penn State, though, it comes down to that defense. Can this defense hang around with this offense of Auburn? I think they will, but I think Auburn is clearly the, favorite in this game. I really don't see Penn State going on the road at Jordan-Hare and beating Auburn in this one. I think they do lose their second game of the season, and that comes to Auburn. They take care of business, though, against Central Michigan, and I think they will be 2-2 out of September. So that September schedule is pretty tough. You get Purdue and Auburn on the road, and those are not easy games. So you get 2-2 start there. Then they head to the month of October now. They face Northwestern here at home. Northwestern going to be a better team this year, but not really, getting them to a bowl game. I think the schedule is kind of tough for Northwestern. But, this game, I could see it going either way in the first half, but second half with Penn State at home, I think Penn State does defeat Northwestern here. And I got them, beating Northwestern, by about maybe 2 touchdowns, maybe by a couple touchdowns. They'll be a favorite in this one probably. So, I think Penn State will, defeat Northwestern. They get a bye week before playing Michigan on the road, and that is good news. You get a bye week there between, after the Northwestern game, and then you head on the road to Michigan. But this is not going to be an easy game here. I know last year Michigan defeated Penn State. Penn State's looking for revenge in this game. Honestly, I don't really see Penn State going on the road and defeating Michigan in this game. I really don't see it happening. I think Michigan, I know they lose quite a lot on the defensive side of the ball, but both of these teams lose quite a lot of talent on the defensive side of the ball. But I think it's going to be a shootout game, maybe somewhere in that range. I think it's going to be probably like a 30-point something ball game. But I think Michigan comes out with the win at the end of the day, with it being at home for Michigan, and I think the Wolverines give Penn State their third loss of the season. Minnesota coming up next here on October 22nd. This is a home game for Penn State, which is good news. This is a veteran Minnesota team. They have a great offensive team coming back this year. Defensively, they're going to be pretty good as well. But Penn State, with them being at home, can they hang around with this team? I think they will. That's going to help them out with the home field advantage. And I think this is a game that can go either way as well. I'm going to pick Penn State to win. I think with it being a home game and also a 50-50 matchup, I'm going to go with the Nitty Lions to get the win over a veteran Minnesota team. It won't be a blowout, though. I think it will be a close game until the fourth quarter. But I think Penn State barely survives this game. And I think they do defeat Minnesota here at home. And then they face Ohio State at home, October 29th. And this is good news. You get Ohio State at home, but let's be honest, Ohio State is going to be a dangerous team in the Big Ten this year. I think Ohio State is probably, one of the top 5 teams out of the country this year. And also, they have a chance to be maybe the top-ranked team coming into this year. You never know, but C.J. Stroud is a great quarterback. I mean, we got 2 great quarterbacks here going at it with Sean Clifford and C.J. Stroud, but I think C.J. Stroud and the Buckeyes are the better team, and I think Penn State does lose here at home to Ohio State. I think they hang around in the first half a little bit, but second half, Ohio State pulls away, and I think they do defeat Penn State here at home. Next game is on the road at Indiana, so they head to the month of November now, and that stretch in November is not that easy, but you get 2 of your toughest games at home, so that's good news. They come in with a record now at 4-4. Indiana on the road. This is not going to be an easy game here as well. It's some sort of trap game for Penn State. I could see this one going either way, but I think Indiana's just got a lot of question marks this year. I'm not really high on this Indiana team either this year, and it's been a while since I've talked about Indiana. But I think Penn State does go on the road and survives a close one with Indiana. I think they come out with a win, barely by 10 points. It's a game that can go either way, but I think Indiana just doesn't have the talent or something to really compete with Penn State. They do have the talent, but it's not going to be enough to beat Penn State. I think Penn State does defeat Indiana here on the road. Next game is at home against Maryland. This is going to be an interesting matchup as well. Maryland has a great offensive team coming back this year. They have a lot of talent. Talia Tagovailoa coming back as well. So, Maryland's going to be that type of team that can really upset Penn State here. I'm really seeing this one being an upset, but with it being at home and also a 50-50 game, I'm going to go with the Nitty Lions to get the win here over Maryland. Penn State is a tough place to play. Let's be honest, it's a tough place to play, and I think they do defeat Maryland here, though, and I think they do get bowl eligible, and they do defeat Maryland here at home. Next game is on the road at Rutgers. This is some sort of trap game, but I'm not really expecting the Rutgers to be not good team. They're some of a decent team, but I think they're not going to be that team that really surprises a lot of people in the Big Ten East this year. And I could see Penn State, going on the road and defeating the Rutgers. I think the Rutgers will hang around in the first half. Second half, though, I think Penn State does pull away. I think Sean Clifford really steps up by this point, and I think he does lead Penn State to a win on the road at Rutgers. And then there's that final game at home against Michigan State. I had to go back and forth on this game so many times. Michigan State, I did their prediction already if you already knew that. I did pick Michigan State to win. The reason why is because I like Michigan State's offense in this game. I think they're going to really be hyped up in this game, but it will be a close one. Really no doubt about that. It's going to be a really close game. It is a home game for Penn State, but I had to go with Michigan State. I think Michigan State, a lot of people are picking Michigan State to beat Penn State in this game, but don't really sleep on it. It's a close game. I think Penn State can really step up, and I think they do, they do lose, but I think it will be a close game. Don't really sleep on it. I think Penn State will get really close, but my overall prediction for Penn State comes out to be 7-5 in 2022. Everybody's really predicting 7-5 for Penn State, but I can see this team going 8-4 possibility. 9-3 is possible as well, but I think worst case scenario is 6-6 for Penn State. I think that is the worst case scenario for them. But I got them going 7-5. That concludes my prediction for Penn State. Stay tuned here for more on Lucas Ross Sports.